The Dark Night of the Soul, a psychological roadmap to spiritual awakening. The text came at 2:13 a.m. I don't recognize my life. Minutes earlier, she'd stared at a promotion email she'd chased for 10 years and felt nothing. No joy, no relief, just a void so wide it swallowed sound. By sunrise, she'd be on her bathroom floor, certain she'd broken something essential. She hadn't. She'd entered the part nobody prepares you for, the night that strips you down. To understand why a life can go silent at the height of achievement, we have to go back to the beliefs we inherit, the identities we build, and the moment they stop holding. This isn't failure. It's the doorway. How people accidentally enter the dark night. It rarely begins with incense, mantras, or a vow. It starts at the grocery store, or after the wedding, or the week the job finally says yes. You do everything you were told would make a life. Then something small goes off kilter. A favorite song feels hollow. Coffee doesn't taste like morning anymore. Friends' jokes land a beat late. A quiet mismatch grows between who you are and how you're living. For some, it's triggered by loss, a parent's sudden passing, a breakup that cuts deeper than expected, a child leaving home. For others, it's success that misfires. The mountain you climbed offers no view. There's a particular shock when the trophy you chased becomes the mirror that shows you how far you drifted. Eckhart Tolle calls it a collapse of mind-made meaning, a felt death of the conceptual frame that once organized life. The story you tell yourself about who you are and why you wake up stops working. It can feel like depression, because the inner weather turns grey and heavy. But there's a difference. In this night, the sadness isn't random, it has direction. It's pulling something loose. Here's where it gets confusing. The culture says push through, optimize, get busier. You try. You run faster on an empty tank. The nervous system, already frayed, moves from simmering anxiety to survival mode. Sleep thins. Your chest tightens in the checkout line. You go numb to manage the overwhelm, then panic when you can't feel. Meanwhile, something else is happening underground. Parts of you you've kept in shadow begin to stir. Carl Jung used shadow to describe what we can't or won't see in ourselves. Anger you learned was unacceptable. Grief you tucked away to keep the family intact. Ambition you downplayed to stay loved. Tenderness you hid to stay safe. The dark night is what happens when the scaffolding that keeps the shadow out finally buckles. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown. The old container can't hold the size of your life anymore. Jung's alchemical nigredo. The blackening. Maps here. A necessary dissolution before reorganization. People often stumble into the night by accident through a doorway marked self-improvement. You start meditating to reduce stress. Therapy helps you tell the truth. A retreat opens the heart you've been protecting. You feel lighter for a while, until the deeper layers surface. The early winds were clearing the topsoil. Now you're hitting roots. You expected clarity, you get fog. This is where many think they did it wrong. They didn't. They dug far enough to reach what actually needs attention. As the holistic psychologist notes, this isolation phase can be a natural, necessary pause. Sometimes the entry is quieter, a slow drift. Your interests change without permission. The playlist that scored your 20s greats. You crave documentaries over parties, silence over chatter. You say no and don't know why. Old friends feel like old clothes. They still fit, but not in the places that matter. It can look like isolation to others. Inside, it's more like a cocoon, dark, tight, necessary. And then there's the body. It keeps score when the mind won't. Headaches that don't respond to water, a gut that rebels, fatigue that sleep can't fix. You Google symptoms, adjust your diet, switch routines. Some of it helps. Most doesn't touch the root, because the body is carrying the weight of a self you're outgrowing. The nervous system is honest. When you live against your truth long enough, it moves you toward truth the only way it can, by making the old way impossible to sustain, a pattern echoed across somatic and trauma-informed work. What nobody tells you at the start is that the night is not punishment. It's recalibration. Joseph Campbell framed it as the dark night before revelation, and mystics called it descent. Tolle points to it as a passage where conceptual meaning dies and a deeper orientation is born. Not everyone needs it, and you don't need to force it. The language differs, the pattern doesn't. Something in you is refusing to play by rules that kept you safe but small. From the outside, it can look like quitting. On the inside, it's surrender, an end to managing perception so you can meet experience as it is. The first attempts feel clumsy. You'll try to meditate your way out of feeling, journal your way out of grief, overanalyze your way out of fear. The shadow doesn't negotiate. It waits for honesty. It asks simple, disarming questions. Where are you pretending? What are you avoiding? What have you outgrown but won't release? And Tolle's caution, you don't need to engineer a dark night. Don't lock yourself in a dark room hoping to accelerate awakening. And then there's the quiet gift embedded in the chaos. Your worth loosens from performance. The checklist loses authority. You move from, what should I want, to what's true now. That question is the hinge. It doesn't restore the old life. It opens the next one. This is how people enter the dark night. By living well enough, long enough, to notice the cost of staying asleep. They don't fall off the path. The path deepens under their feet. Nervous system mechanics of the night. To understand why life goes quiet, start with the body's command center. Your nervous system is a prediction machine running on safety. When the story you've used to navigate stops matching your lived reality, the system flags mismatch as threat. Not philosophical threat, survival threat. That's why numbness and panic can alternate. It's not moral failure. It's circuitry doing its job. Here's the arc most people don't see. First comes sympathetic activation, fight or flight. You overwork, overthink, overscan the room for what to fix. Sleep gets shallow, appetite shifts, your breath sits high in your chest. You try to outrun the fog. Then, because that state isn't sustainable, the system hits the brakes. Dorsal vagal shutdown, hypoarousal. You feel heavy, disconnected, like you're moving through gelatin. People call it depression. In nervous system language, it's protection. The night often cycles you between these poles. Too much charge, then not enough. Both are honest responses to a world that no longer fits. What you're feeling isn't random sadness. It's a coherence problem. Your meaning-making model collapsed, as Tolle describes. The body registers that collapse as instability and clamps down to prevent freefall. Meanwhile, an older intelligence starts surfacing. Signals you've ignored grow louder. Tight jaw, clenched gut, a headache at the exact moment you say yes when you mean no. Somatic markers are shadow post-its, messages from parts exiled to keep the peace. Jung would say the shadow speaks through symptoms and slips. The nervous system translates those messages into sensations because you can't argue with a knot in your throat. Here's where people get stuck. They try to think their way out of physiology. Insight helps, but your biology needs a bridge. Regulation isn't about becoming calm. It's about increasing range. You're training your system to move between activation and rest without getting trapped. That's the doorway out. Start with breath, but make it mechanical, not mystical. Lengthen your exhale relative to your inhale. 4 in, 6 to 8 out. The longer exhale stimulates the vagus nerve, signaling safe enough. Then add orientation. Let your eyes move slowly across the room, naming 3 colors, 3 shapes, 3 textures. That anchors the survival brain in the present. Pair it with contact. Feet on the floor, back against a chair, hands wrapped around a mug. Pressure is information. Your body relaxes when it knows where it ends. Movement matters more than you think. When fight or flight stalls, trapped motor plans sit in the muscles as restless energy. Walk at a pace where you can still breathe through your nose. Shake your hands, then your arms, like you're flicking off water. It looks silly. It discharges charge. If shutdown is heavy, go micro. Ankle circles in bed. A 30-second cold splash on the face to cue the dive reflex, then warmth. You're teaching your system that it can mobilize and return. Co-regulation is the nervous system's native language. Isolation might be necessary, but total sensory starvation isn't. You need at least one steady nervous system nearby. Someone who can breathe with you without fixing you. Pets count. Trees count. Sit with a dog's slow sigh. Lean your back against a trunk. That isn't poetic advice. It's vagal toning through rhythm and pressure. Now bring in narrative carefully. When your system is overcharged, journaling can feed the spin. Try titration. 1 true sentence, then a body check. I'm scared I've outgrown my job. Feel your ribcage. I don't want to disappoint my father. Feel your feet. Pendulate between discomfort and resource. 2 minutes naming what hurts, 1 minute naming what helps. That swinging builds capacity. Watch for the 3 traps that keep nights long. First, perfectionism in healing. Measuring regulation like a KPI. Your system learns through repetition, not scorekeeping. Second, spiritual bypassing. Using meditation to escape sensation. Stillness without embodiment can widen the split. Third, isolation that turns into deprivation. Solitude helps, until it starves you of cues that say, you're safe. As shadow material surfaces, anger, envy, grief, map it somatically. Where does anger live today? Heat in the cheeks, pressure in the hands? Give it movement with boundaries. Push your palms into a wall, feel legs engage. Where does grief sit? Behind the eyes, in the throat? Let your face change. Tears lubricate the shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic. None of this is performance. It's plumbing. The goal isn't to never get triggered. It's to shorten recovery time and widen what you can feel without leaving yourself. That widening is progress, even when it looks like more feeling. In Jungian terms, you're integrating content from the shadow into the ego without shattering. In physiology terms, you're increasing vagal tone and flexibility. Same process, different language. Finally, set a daily floor, not a ceiling. 10 minutes of breath and orientation. 10 minutes of movement. One honest check-in with a human or a notebook. Keep the promises small and waterproof. The night doesn't end with an idea. It ends when your body trusts that the new story is livable. Shadow work. What actually arrives? Get this, shadow work doesn't arrive as a tidy workbook. It shows up as the thing you least want to feel in the moment it's most inconvenient. You say yes when you mean no, and a hot charge rises in your chest. That's not bad manners. That's exiled anger knocking. You scroll past a friend's announcement and feel a pinch of envy. That isn't proof you're petty. It's a signal you've abandoned a desire. Shadow material is everything you learn to hide to stay safe or loved. Rage, need, brilliance, tenderness, shame, power. It comes wrapped in symptoms. Biting sarcasm, emotional numbness, impulsive decisions, people-pleasing that curdles into resentment. Here's the pattern. First, the trigger. The email, the comment, the silence. Second, the story. Fast, absolute, protective. I'm not valued. They always take advantage. I should be above this. Third, the somatic echo. Tight jaw, shallow breath, heat in the hands, a cave behind the sternum. The psyche uses the body to smuggle contraband truth past your defenses. What nobody told you is that the shadow isn't only the negative stuff. It's also disowned gold. Your creativity, sexuality, leadership, joy. If you grew up in a family where being big meant being punished, you learned to stay small. If caretaking kept you close, wanting for yourself felt dangerous. The dark night cracks the seal, so both the wound and the medicine can surface. So what actually happens when you do shadow work? Not a purge, a relationship. Start at the doorway of behavior and work inward. Map a recent moment you're not proud of. A snap at your partner, a lie to avoid conflict, a retreat into silence. Freeze frame. What was threatened? Autonomy, belonging, status, control, worth? Pick one. Now drop below the storyline. Where do you feel it? Name the region, the size, the temperature, the movement. Then ask the part a plain question. What are you trying to do for me? Most bad behaviors are clumsy attempts to meet a good need: safety, dignity, connection. When the part answers, reflect it back in words and sensation. This is integration, bringing a split-off piece into contact with the adult self that can negotiate reality. Here's where Jung's frame helps. The ego isn't the enemy, it's the organizer. The shadow is content the ego disallowed. Integration means the ego learns to make room without collapsing. Practically, that looks like parts dialogue. Right from the I of the part. I'm envy. I protect you from giving up on yourself. Then respond from the I of your present self. I hear you. We want recognition. Here's how we'll ask without attacking. Keep it short, specific, embodied. If the part won't settle, step out of language and into movement. Anger likes push, hands into a wall, voice with sound, legs engaged. Grief likes softening, jaw unclenched, shoulders rounded, breath down. Shame dissolves with eye contact and accurate mirroring from a safe other. None of this is theory. It's how the nervous system updates its map of, I can feel this and stay intact. Meanwhile, what nobody knew at the time you started meditating is that stillness invites everything you bypassed to visit. So you'll meet protectors, perfectionism, cynicism, spiritual superiority. They'll try to manage the room. You don't fight them. You set conditions. You can stand here while we talk to the one who's hurting. You can't speak over them. That boundary is the muscle you're building. Shadow work isn't catharsis for its own sake. It's earned intimacy with your own complexity, so you stop outsourcing your power or projecting your fear onto everyone else. 3 practices keep this from becoming a swamp. First, constraint. 15 minutes, timer on, topic chosen. Flooding isn't healing. Second, containment. One object that represents resource, a stone, a photo, your dog's collar, held in hand while you work. When you forget why you're doing this, the weight reminds you. Third, commitment. One repair action after each session. An apology, a boundary set, a request made, a lie undone. Insight without behavior is just better lit avoidance. Now remember, this is a descent, not a demolition. You'll notice odd wins. The person who always triggered you still does, but the spike drops faster. You feel envy and use it as a compass. There's something here I want, time to name it. You express anger without burning the room down. You enjoy your competence without collapsing into arrogance. That's shadow integrated, charged with choice. And there's a paradoxical grace. When you stop hiding from what you feel, you stop demanding that life protect you from feeling it. The night thins. The same world looks less threatening, because you're not threatened by yourself. This isn't the end of the work. It's the moment everything changes direction. From running from the dark to walking with it. Steadily, eyes open, hand on the rail. The stages, a working map, not a prison. Think of this as trail markers, not guardrails. Nights don't follow clean lines, but most people move through recognizable terrain, akin to Campbell's mythic Night Journey and Jung's stages of transformation. The point isn't to collect stages like merit badges. It's to know where your feet are, what the terrain demands, and how to move without turning on yourself. Stage 1, the cracking. Something essential stops working. The promotion that lands hollow, the breakup, the illness, or just the slow leak of meaning. Your nervous system flags mismatch as threat and throws you into oscillation. Fight to outrun it, freeze when you can't. The task here is naming without judging. Call it what it is, the map failed. Keep it plain. My story about success no longer fits. Anchor in basics, breath with long exhales, orientation, food that steadies blood sugar, sleep hygiene that's boring and effective. Don't make declarations. Don't torch your life at midnight. You're stabilizing the edges while the middle reorganizes. Stage 2, the descent. You stop performing fine. The ache you've kept under glass gets air. Grief, anger, envy, dread. This is where people fear they're regressing. You're not. You're feeling what was postponed. The work is titration. 15 minutes with one feeling, then a pivot to resource. Pendulate. Map the sensations. Let sound move through a closed mouth hum. Push into a wall when heat rises. Keep one hand on something solid. This stage isn't about fixing. It's about contact without flooding. Meanwhile, reduce inputs. Fewer screens, fewer opinions. The descent asks for signal to noise. Stage 3, the void. Orientation dissolves. Old pleasures dim. Time gets strange. You can't tell if you're resting or failing. Tolle would say conceptual meaning has collapsed. Jung would call it the nigredo, the blackening. Biologically, it's dorsal dominance, energy conservation while the system rewires. The assignment is gentleness with structure. Set a floor. 3 anchors daily, movement, nourishment, 1 co-regulating touchpoint. Build micro-rituals that say, we're still here. The same mug, the same tree, the same 10-minute walk. Avoid the seduction of big answers. The void's medicine is emptiness without panic. If panic comes, you know the drills. Breath, eyes scanning, weight into heels, name 5 red things. As the Holistic Psychologist notes, acceptance and surrender to the pause allow reorganization. Stage 4, the reckoning. Shadow steps forward with receipts. You see the patterns you swore were everyone else's fault. Control that masqueraded as care. Performing that passed for love. You'll want to swing to self-blame. Don't. This stage asks for responsibility without shame. Use parts work. Here's the manager who keeps us safe by criticizing first. Here's the exile who still thinks love is earned. Run the dialogue. Ask each part what job it's doing and what it needs to do it better. Then change one behavior in daylight. A boundary set, a request made, a confession spoken. Integration happens in action. Keep the cycle small. Insight, embodiment, repair. Stage 5, the repatterning. New micro-choices take root. You don't feel like a different person. You behave like 1 in 2-minute increments. Nervous system-wise, you're training flexibility, shifting from sympathetic to ventral without drama. Practice state shifts on purpose. Upregulate with brisk walks and cold water when you're flat. Downshift with longer exhales and soft eyes when you're wired. Pair state training with identity updates. Write new scripts for old scenes. When my boss interrupts, I'll say, let me finish this thought. Rehearse out loud. Somatic rehearsal primes execution. Track wins, not because you need gold stars, but because your threat system needs evidence. Stage 6, the return. You re-enter rooms you left, not as a test, but as a measure. Old triggers still ping, but recovery shortens. Joy returns differently, less like fireworks, more like warmth in the ribs. Relationships recalibrate. Some deepen because you're bringing a whole person. Some end quietly. Your work is clarity with kindness. Don't sell your new center to buy old approval. Ritualize the return. Mark what ended and what began, even if it's just a note to your future self. We didn't abandon us. Keep tending the floor. The point isn't to never fall, it's to fall forward. 2 crosswinds blow through every stage. The first is urgency. Solve it now, define it, name the next identity. That's the protector talking. Thank it. Slow your exhale. The second is despair. This is forever. It isn't. Put time on a calendar and prove it to yourself. Yesterday hurt differently than today. Nights thin by degrees. What nobody knew at the start is that progress looks like feeling more, not less, until your capacity catches up. You'll re-meet earlier stages in smaller loops. A mini crack when a new truth arrives, a mini void when a role dissolves. That's not failure. It's how complex systems learn. The map keeps you oriented. The body keeps you honest. The shadow keeps you humble. Your job is to keep walking. Eyes open, breath steady, one repair at a time. The turning decision: stop optimizing, start orienting. There's a moment, sometimes tiny, sometimes dramatic, when you realize the old game is keeping you stuck. You've been optimizing, better routines, cleaner habits, more hacks. It worked before. Now it breeds friction. The knight doesn't want a shinier version of the same strategy. It wants a different posture. Orientation, not optimization. Optimization starts with deficiency. I'm not enough, fix me. Orientation starts with reality. Where am I? What state am I in? And what's the next honest move? That shift is the turning decision. It sounds simple. It's not. It asks you to stop negotiating with the truth and let it set your direction. Begin with 3 checks: state, signal, scope. State is nervous system first. Ask out loud. Am I up, down, or present? If you're wired, don't plan your life. Downshift first. Longer exhales, soft eyes, weight into heels. If you're flat, don't analyze your purpose. Upregulate. Brisk walk, cold splash, music with a beat. If you're present enough, proceed. This isn't biohacking. It's agreeing to meet reality before you make choices that will shape your life. Signal is shadow signal. What keeps pinging? Envy, anger, grief, shame, longing? Pick one. Treat it as data, not indictment. Envy points to desire you disowned. Anger points to a boundary you didn't set. Grief points to love or identity that ended. Shame points to a place that needs accurate mirroring, not self-attack. Longing points to a direction. Orientation means you let signal influence route. Scope keeps you from making cathedral plans on a collapsed foundation. Shrink the frame until you can act. Your brain wants the whole staircase. The knight only gives you the next step. That's mercy. It keeps you from breaking promises you can't keep. Here's the rule that turns the wheel. Make decisions that increase contact, not performance. If a choice widens your ability to feel and stay with yourself, it's aligned. If it makes you look better while you disappear, it's more optimizing in new clothes. Choose the less impressive thing that keeps you whole. Practically, swap the question, how do I fix this? For, what would make this 1 inch truer? Your job feels hollow? Not quit and move to Bali. 1 inch might be telling your manager, I want more creative work. Here are 2 ideas I can own. If your relationship runs on managing conflict, 1 inch is naming. I get defensive when I feel dismissed. Can we pause and try again? Then feel your feet. Contact before content. Build orientation anchors you can do on your worst day. The sane loop works. See, acknowledge, name, enact. See, take 10 seconds to notice the literal scene. Light, temperature, sounds. Acknowledge. Say 1 true sentence about your internal state without judgment. I'm scared and tired. Name. Identify the dominant signal: anger, grief, envy, shame, longing. Enact. 1 body-led action that matches the signal. Anger gets push. Grief gets softening. Envy gets a micro-ask. Shame gets co-regulation. Longing gets a 5-minute experiment toward the thing. Loop it twice a day. It's small on purpose. It turns orientation into muscle memory. You'll be tempted to turn orientation into another scoreboard. Don't. Choose constraints that protect the work from your inner manager. 15-minute windows. 1-page journals. 1 conversation a week that includes a request. 1 boundary honored even when nobody notices. Consistency rewires safety. Safety frees courage. Now remember, you're not just steering behavior, you're updating identity. Identity isn't a sentence, it's a set of permissions. Write 3 you're willing to grant. I'm allowed to want. I'm allowed to disappoint people and stay connected. I'm allowed to change my mind. Put them where your eyes land: bathroom mirror, phone lock screen. Every time you see them, breathe out longer than you breathed in. Teach your body that these permissions don't threaten belonging. Meanwhile, reduce inputs that scramble your compass. During nights, advice sticks like burrs. Pick 2 sources you trust and mute the rest for a season. Track your own data. What choices left you more present 2 hours later? That's your personal evidence. Collect it. Your nervous system believes what it can verify. Finally, ritualize the turning. Light a candle or touch a stone and say, "We're orienting." It sounds small. It tells every part of you what game you're playing. Then keep walking. State first, signal next, scope small, contact over performance. The night doesn't demand a hero. It asks for a witness who will stay. Orientation makes you that witness. Ground skills that work when nothing works. There are days when every tool feels fake. Breath won't catch, journaling spins, friends don't land. This isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign your system is maxed and needs primitive, low-cognition inputs. Think of these as emergency rails. Simple, repeatable, body-led. They're not impressive. They work. Start with 5-4-3-2-1, but make it tactile first. 5 points of contact you can literally feel. Heels, toes, seat back, palms. Press each for 2 breaths. For temperatures, the cool of the glass, the warm mug, the air on your neck, the fabric at your wrist. 3 colors, 2 sounds, 1 smell. Speak them softly. Naming recruits just enough prefrontal cortex to keep you here. If your chest is buzzing, use Box Plus. Inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6, hold 2. That +2 on the exhale leans the vagus. Do 6 rounds, then stop. Overbreathing can make dizziness worse. If you're foggy and heavy, flip it, upshift breaths. Sniff in, long sigh out 3 times. Then stand. Cold-warm toggles reset stuck states. Splash cold water across your cheekbones and upper lip for 10 seconds. The dive reflex runs through the trigeminal nerve. Then wrap in a towel or a sweater for warmth. You're teaching your system it can move and return. When thoughts race, give the mouth a job. Humming through closed lips for 1 minute vibrates the vagus and lengthens the exhale without effort. Add a hand on your sternum for weight. If you're in public, chew gum slowly and count 10 chews per side. Rhythm says safe enough. Do the 3x3 walk. 3 blocks, 3 rules. Breathe through your nose, eyes on the horizon, swing your arms past your midline. Cross-body movement integrates left and right hemispheres. If you can't leave the room, march in place for 60 seconds, heel to toe, then shake your hands like you're flicking off water. It discharges stored motor plans. Touch calms threat. If nobody's available, self-hold. Cross your arms and tuck your hands into your armpits. Squeeze gently for 20 seconds. Or do the butterfly tap. Alternate tapping your upper arms, left, right, at a slow, steady pace while you look around the room. Keep your jaw loose. You're pairing bilateral stimulation with orientation. Food is medicine when cognition fails. Salt, fat, and protein ground. Half an apple with peanut butter, a handful of nuts, broth with salt. Blood sugar dips look like existential despair. If you haven't eaten in 5 hours, eat. If you haven't drunk water in 3, sip. Don't optimize, stabilize. When sleep won't come, stop fighting the bed. Get up. Sit in a chair with a dim light behind you. Feet on floor, knees together, ankles under knees. Do October 10th, 10. 10 slow eye movements left to right, 10 long exhales, 10 sentences that start with "right now I notice." Keep them literal. The curtain moves. Then try again. If you're awake at 3 a.m., keep light low and screens off. Protect circadian rhythm, so tomorrow isn't worse. Create a night kit you can reach without thinking. Inside, a soft eye mask, earplugs, a weighted object, peppermint gum, a protein bar, electrolyte packets, a printed card with 3 skills. In the moment, decisions drain you. Kits remove decisions. When panic spikes in public, shrink the battlefield. Go to a wall. Put your palms at shoulder height. Lean your weight forward until your chest meets pressure. Push for 10 seconds, release for 10. Repeat 3 times. Then look for rectangles in the room and trace their edges with your eyes. Straight lines organize overwhelm. If shame has you hiding, use one phrase outreach. Text someone safe. Rough patch. Don't fix. Breathe with me. Then send a 30-second voice note of your breathing. Co-regulation doesn't require conversation. It requires rhythm and presence. Set a daily floor that survives bad days. 3 items, 10 minutes total. 2 minutes of longer exhales, 2 minutes of orientation, 6 minutes of movement. If you hit the floor, you kept the promise. Floors build trust, and trust is the exit. For shadow surges, use name, claim, contain. Name the part out loud. Envy, anger, shame. Claim the function. You're trying to protect dignity. Contain with a matching action. Anger, push into a doorframe, breathe out on effort. Shame, eye contact with a photo of someone who loves you or your own eyes in the mirror. Then place a hand on your heart. Grief, knees together, head bowed. Let your face change for 90 seconds. Set a timer, endings calm parts. When nothing works, simplify further. The ground 3, weight, warmth, water. Weight, blanket or heavy jacket for 5 minutes. Warmth, hands around a mug or a heating pad at low back. Water, sip something salty. Then retry breath or walk. Often you're one physiological shift away from enough presence to use the other tools. Here's the quiet rule tying this together. Stop trying to feel better, aim to feel safer. Better is a mood. Safer is a state. Safety widens your window. Inside a wider window, feeling returns without drowning you. That's progress the night trusts. Meeting grief without getting lost. Grief is the current under almost every dark night. Not only grief for people we've lost, but for versions of ourselves, futures we trained for, identities that kept us safe. It isn't a glitch to be patched. It's the body's way of saying, make room. Something ended. If you treat grief like a problem, it grows thorns. Treat it like weather, and it moves. Start with a simple reframe. Grief isn't the opposite of healing. It's the proof you're attached to what mattered. Jung would call it soul work, the psyche integrating what the ego can't yet explain. Tolle would say the mind's meaning collapsed. Grief is the heart catching up. In the nervous system, grief is a mixed state. Sympathetic ache under a parasympathetic pull to fold inward. That's why you feel heavy and raw at once. You're not broken. You're metabolizing love and loss at the same time. The first skill is permission with parameters. Give grief a container so it doesn't flood the day or get exiled to the night. 15 minutes, timer on. Sit where your back is supported and your feet find the ground. Cue the body that it's allowed. Unclench your jaw, soften the back of your throat. Let your eyes get wet without forcing tears. Then add sound, humming, low and steady. Sound keeps breath moving when words won't. When the timer ends, stand, drink water with salt, look at 3 stable objects, and touch a doorframe. You're teaching your body how to visit the river and get back to the bank. If grief won't surface, meet it sideways. Hold an object that carries the story. A shirt, a key, a printout of the acceptance email that felt empty. Name out loud what ended without argument. My old dream ended. That version of us ended. Keep the sentences small. Big language can tip you into spin. The point isn't poetry, it's contact. Meanwhile, protect sleep. Grief loves 3 a.m. spirals. When it visits, don't debate. Sit up, low light behind you. Do 10 slow isocods left to right, 10 longer exhales, 10 literal. Right now I notice. Lines. If tears come, let your face change and keep breathing out longer than in. Then back to bed. You're not banishing grief. You're holding the edges so tomorrow isn't wreckage. Here's what nobody tells you. Grief has flavors, and they need different handling. Clean grief is the pain of what truly ended. It moves when witnessed. Complicated grief is pain braided with stories, blame, fantasy. What if? If your mind starts writing scripts, return to the body. Where is the ache? If it's throat, tilt your chin down and support the back of your neck with one hand. If it's chest, add weight. A pillow, a jacket. Then breathe under it, like you're inflating a small balloon behind your sternum. If it's gut, bring your knees together and your toes slightly in. Those positions tell the body held, which loosens the story loop. Practice grief in company when you can. Co-regulation changes the chemistry. Ask for what you really need. Sit with me. No fixing. Let a steady breath beside you set rhythm. If no humans available, dogs and trees count. Lean your spine on a trunk and match its verticality. It's not romanticism. Pressure and rhythm are vagal cues. Use ritual to mark what ended. Burn the calendar page of the date that changed you. Write a letter you won't send and read it aloud once. Place photos in an album instead of letting them haunt your camera roll. The nervous system trusts what's witnessed and named. Ritual gives grief a beginning and an end inside a longer story, and aligns with Tolle's framing that something dies, so a truer orientation can be born. Set boundaries around grief triggers when you're raw. Mute accounts that stab. Decline gatherings that cost more than they give. That's not avoidance, it's dosage. When your capacity widens, reintroduce triggers gradually with supports. A friend on speed dial, an exit plan, a grounding object in your pocket. Exposure without resourcing is rewounding. Exposure with resourcing is integration. If shame shows up, I should be over this, call it out. Shame freezes grief. Look in a mirror or at a photo of someone who loves you and say, "We're grieving because we loved." Then place a hand on your heart and count 6 slow exhales. Make your body feel the sentence. Truth plus sensation updates the system. Anchor grief to action that honors what you lost. If you're grieving a version of you who hustled for worth, honor them by resting on purpose 1 hour a week. If you're grieving a person, do one small thing they loved. Play their song, cook their soup, donate to their cause. Action keeps grief from collapsing into rumination. Track the arc. Not every day, once a week. One line. Grief felt like X and I could Y. Grief felt like fog and I walked the block. Grief felt sharp and I called Sam. Your threat system needs evidence that you can feel and function. Evidence builds trust. Trust widens your window. Finally, recognize the sign you're not lost. You can cry and still keep your promises to yourself. That's the integration point. Not stoicism, not collapse. Contact with what hurts, movement toward what matters at human speed. Grief doesn't leave you as it found you. It clears space. In that cleared space, meaning grows quietly, less like a banner, more like a root, reclaiming power and anger safely. Anger is the bodyguard of what you value. In the dark night, it often returns wearing a mask you learned to fear, rage, sarcasm, shut down. Underneath is power you exiled to stay acceptable. Reclaiming it isn't about yelling louder. It's about updating the contract with yourself. I can feel the heat, keep contact with my body, and use the energy to protect what matters. Start with a reframe. Anger isn't the problem. Misdirected or frozen anger is. Biologically, anger rides sympathetic activation. Blood to limbs, breath up in the chest, focus narrow. Left unmanaged, it explodes or implodes. Integrated, it becomes boundary, clarity, and momentum. The aim here isn't calm, it's channel. Use the threshold test to find where your power leaks. Think of 3 moments this month you felt walked over, silenced, or dismissed. For each, name the exact boundary that was crossed: time, space, dignity, money, energy. Then name the permission you didn't grant yourself in real time. I'm allowed to ask for clarity. I'm allowed to say no without an essay. I'm allowed to end a conversation. You're mapping targets. Anger without targets hunts for enemies. Anger with targets guards doors. When the heat hits, go body first. Step to a wall. Hands at shoulder height, fingers spread. Inhale through your nose, slow. On the exhale, press your palms into the wall at about 60% effort for 8 seconds, jaw loose, eyes open. Release for 6 seconds. Repeat 3 times. You're giving the motor plan a job. Push, while keeping orientation, eyes scanning, breath moving. This discharges charge without damage and tells your system, we can mobilize and return. Add sound that doesn't scare your nervous system. A low vowel through closed lips, MMM or VVV, on the exhale during the push. Vibration rides the vagus. Sound keeps breath from locking. Notice hands, forearms, chest. Heat is information, not a command. If your pattern is implosion, anger turned inward as self-attack, use a different entry. Put a belt or towel around a sturdy object at waist height. Step back until there's slight tension. Hinge your hips, soften your knees, and pull back with your lats for 8 seconds on an exhale, jaw unclenched. Release, breathe, repeat. You're reclaiming, backing yourself literally. After 3 rounds, stand taller on purpose and widen your peripheral vision. Curiosity diffuses self-attack. Now bring in language carefully. Anger floods the mind with all or nothing stories. You need sentences that carry heat without burning trust. Use the boundary trio. Fact, feeling, forward. Fact is a neutral description. You raised your voice. Feeling is somatic truth, not accusation. My chest tightened and I felt angry. Forward is the boundary or request. I'm willing to continue if we lower our voices. Keep it short. Long explanations leak power. Practice out loud with a friend or alone. Reps matter. Speak the trio while you do a wall push so your body learns that exertion and articulation can coexist. If your voice wobbles, that's just sympathetic energy. Don't apologize for it. Breathe out longer than in and keep going. Shadow check. What anger have you disowned because it resembled someone who hurt you? Write 2 columns. Left. Anger like my father, boss, coach, controlling, cruel. Right. Anger I'm cultivating, protective, precise, time-limited. Read the right column before hard conversations. You're separating toxic models from the clean fuel you're learning to use. Beware 2 decoys. First, performative tough talk. Power cosplay without embodiment. It reads as brittle because it is. If your feet aren't on the floor and your breath isn't low, postpone the speech. Second, spiritual suppression. Calling anger low vibration and choking it into a smile. That's a detour back to numb. Anger doesn't evaporate, it calcifies. Better to give it a lane. Use anger hours if you tend to erupt at random. Pick a consistent window, say 6 to 6:15 p.m., when you deliberately contact the charge. 2 rounds of wall push, 1 round of towel pull, then 2 minutes of free writing starting with I'm angry that. Don't justify, list. When the timer ends, close with a forward action. 1 boundary email drafted, 1 request scheduled, 1 yes converted to a no. You're converting heat to behavior. Co-regulation helps here too. Tell a steady friend, I'm practicing boundaries. When I text red, reply breathe. Say the trio. Borrow their calm without outsourcing your spine. If you lack a person, record your own voice saying the trio template and play it before calls that spike you. Familiar rhythm steadies execution. When shame rushes in after you set a line, I was too much, meet it directly. Stand, plant your feet, and name the move aloud. I protected my time. Hand on heart, 6 long exhales. Anchor the truth in. Sensation so the old people-pleasing script doesn't rewrite the scene. Anger also guards desire. Track envy like we did earlier, and pair it with 1 ask per week. I want to lead that project. I want a night alone. Each ask builds the muscle that says, I'm allowed to want and act on it. Desire expressed reduces ambient resentment. Finally, ritualize power that doesn't require anyone's permission. The gate walk. Once a day, walk through a literal doorway and whisper, my voice comes with me. It's small, consistent, embodied. Power grows in inches. Remember, safe anger isn't soft, it's precise. It starts in the body, speaks in clean sentences, and ends in action you can stand behind tomorrow. In the night, that precision is progress. You're not trying to be less intense. You're aiming to be trustworthy with your own heat. Working with shame without performing purity. Shame is the bouncer at the door of connection. It scans for reasons to eject you before anyone else can. In the dark night, shame shows up fast, after anger, after grief, after desire, and whispers the oldest script. If they see this, you'll lose love. Performing purity is the workaround. Act unimpeachable so shame never gets evidence. It works until it costs you aliveness. The task here isn't to be good. It's to stay human while shame does its job, and you do yours. Start with a clean definition. Guilt says, I did something that hurt. Shame says, I am something that hurts. Guilt invites repair. Shame invites hiding. Biologically, shame is a drop into collapse. Eyes down, chest caved, heat in the face, breath held. It's an ancient submission reflex. Don't get kicked out of the tribe. Useful once. Crippling now when it runs your inner court. We're going to meet it with contact, not confession theater. Use the mirror test to separate shame from danger. Ask out loud. Did I break a value or did I break a performance rule? Values are your non-negotiables. Honesty, care, boundaries. Performance rules are costumes. Never upset anyone, always look wise, cry off camera. If you broke a value, shame is a signal to repair. If you broke a performance rule, shame is a signal to update an outdated costume. 2 paths, 2 different moves. When shame floods, go body first. The reflex is to hide your face and stop breathing. Reverse it gently. Place 1 hand on your sternum, 1 on your belly. Soften your jaw and let your tongue rest on the floor of your mouth. Breathe in for 4, out for 8, 3 rounds. Keep your eyes open and find 3 rectangles in the room. Name their colors. You're telling your system, seen and safe. Shame shrinks in sight lines. It grows in dark corners. Now name it precisely. Not, I'm disgusting. Try, shame is here, my face is hot, and my chest is caving. Put it in third person if first is too raw. Shame is visiting. Then ask the protective question. What connection am I afraid of losing? A partner's respect? A community's approval? Your own regard? Identify the audience. Performing purity is always for someone. Knowing who clarifies what story you're feeding. Bring in the truth pair. One sentence of accountability, one sentence of worth. Out loud. I missed a deadline that impacted my team. I am still a person worthy of repair. I lied to avoid conflict. I'm capable of telling the truth now. Pair each truth with sensation. Speak the first and feel your feet. Speak the second and lengthen your exhale. You're welding reality and dignity in the nervous system. If shame is tied to shadow, anger, sexuality, ambition, use consent-based exposure. Choose a micro-behavior that contradicts the lie. Shame says, your anger makes you unlovable. Behavior, share a boundary with one trusted person and stay in the room for 20 seconds after. Shame says, your desire is dangerous. Behavior, write one want and read it to yourself in a mirror, breathing low. Shame says, your ambition betrays your people. Behavior, ask for credit on one piece of work and track your body for 1 minute after. Exposure without collapse rewires the cost-benefit map. Watch the purity performance in spiritual clothes. Apology marathons, public flagellation, hypercorrect takes. The ego tries to buy absolution with spectacle. The night asks for something quieter, congruence. Congruence is when what you say, feel, and do line up within human margins. Practice, small true over big right. If you can't say the whole clean thing, say one clean inch. I'm noticing I'm defensive. Then breathe. Purity wants perfection. Congruence wants contact. Shame often guards developmental needs that never got sanctioned. To be messy and still loved. To be angry and still welcomed. To be sexual and still safe. To be ambitious and still belong. Set belonging permissions, where your eyes land. 3 lines, present tense. I'm allowed to be seen in process. I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to repair without groveling. Pair each read with a longer exhale. Teach your body that these permissions don't cost the tribe. Co-regulation is medicine here. Shame dissolves in accurate mirroring. Ask for a specific reflection. Tell me what you still respect about me after hearing this. Or, reflect the impact without attacking my character. If you don't have that person, use recorded self-mirroring. Speak your truth pair into your phone and play it back while you breathe. Your own voice can be a steady other. Use the repair triangle when you've actually harmed. Impact, ownership, offer. Impact, name what happened without excuse. When I didn't respond for 2 days, you were left hanging. Ownership, I see that I avoided because I was overwhelmed. Offer, I'll answer within 24 hours or set a timeline next time. Then stop. Don't pivot to self-loathing. Repair is an act, not a performance. Let the other person have their feelings without demanding absolution. Set shame hours, like we did with anger, to keep it from hijacking your day. 10 minutes, timer on. Write 3 columns, trigger, story, need. Boss's tone, I'm incompetent, clarity and pacing. Then 1 action toward the need. Send the email asking for expectations. Close with breath and orientation. This turns a swamp into a channel. Finally, track the metric that matters. Speed of recovery to self-regard. Not absence of shame, not spotless record. I felt shame at 10:04. By 10:17 I could breathe, name impact, and choose a next step. That's progress. Shame will visit. Purity will beckon. Choose contact over costume. The night trusts that choice. Rebuilding meaning. Values over vibes. When the old story collapses, most people try to feel their way into a new one. Vibes are fickle. Values hold. Rebuilding meaning isn't about chasing peak states. It's about choosing principles you can act on when your mood is terrible and your faith is thin. Values are behaviors under pressure. They're how you treat yourself and others when nobody's clapping. Start with a small inventory. Moments in the last month when you felt quietly right, even if they didn't look impressive. Helping a colleague without performing generosity. Telling the truth even though it warmed your face with shame. Saying no and staying in the room. Those are breadcrumbs. Circle 3 recurring themes: care, courage, learning, honesty, stewardship, creativity, dignity. Keep them to 5 or fewer. Fewer values mean clearer decisions. Now translate values into verbs. Honesty becomes, I tell the clean thing at the smallest true size. Care becomes, I protect capacity before I perform. Courage becomes, I make the ask I'm avoiding. The nervous system trusts verbs. Verbs you can do on bad days become scaffolding. Write one sentence per value that starts with even when. Even when I'm afraid, I say one true sentence. Even when I want approval, I honor my boundary. These are promises to your future foggy self. Meaning grows when values meet constraints. Design value reps that are small enough to repeat. One honesty rep daily, one clear sentence. One courage rep weekly, one ask. One care rep hourly, one breath and check-in before you say yes. Track reps like you would sets at the gym, not to impress yourself, but to build proof. Proof creates safety. Safety lets you feel and act at the same time. Shift your metric from outcome to alignment. Instead of did it work, ask was it aligned? You'll still care about outcomes. Rent matters, but alignment keeps you from selling yourself for quick relief. After hard days, run a 3-line debrief. What value did I practice? What did it cost? What did it buy? You're teaching your system that cost is tolerable when the purchase is integrity. Beware counterfeit meaning, vibes that mimic values. High vibe positivity looks like courage but avoids conflict. Grind looks like stewardship but burns capacity. Non-attachment looks like wisdom but is actually fear of wanting. Test with the friction check. After a choice, do you feel warm and grounded or hollow and brittle? Warmth with fatigue signals aligned exertion. Brittleness signals performance. Adjust accordingly. Bring people into your values on purpose. Share your verbs with one steady person and ask for mirroring. If you catch me choosing vibes over values, say floor and breathe with me. Values are social. Co-regulation keeps them from becoming private ideals you abandon under pressure. If you're isolated, write a brief value letter to yourself each Sunday. One paragraph on where you lived them, one on where you ducked, one on this week's smallest rep. Read it aloud. Hearing your voice matters. Turn values into environmental cues. Put even when lines where your hand lands, on your water bottle, laptop edge, car dashboard. When a trigger hits, touch the line and lengthen your exhale. You're pairing principle with state shift. Over time, the cue will shorten your recovery and make the aligned move more available. Expect a lull. Meaning doesn't flood in like light after a storm. It accretes. A week of reps feels like nothing. A month feels like steadiness. 90 days feels like a person you recognize from the inside. Tolle would call it a deeper orientation, not reliant on concepts. Jung would call it ego fortified around living symbols. You don't need the labels. You'll know because decisions get simpler, not easier simpler. Use a quarterly ritual to recalibrate. Pick a day. Walk to the same place. Review your 3 lines per value. A story where you lived it, a cost you accepted, a boundary you kept. Retire one value if it was actually a vibe. Promote a quiet value that kept showing up. Then write one sentence that names the meaning you're growing toward, framed as practice, not identity. I'm practicing a life where truth, care, and courage set the pace. Pocket it. Walk back. Meaning rebuilt this way isn't fragile. It survives bad news, slow seasons, and rooms that don't get you yet. It doesn't spike your nervous system or demand applause. It hums. And on nights when nothing shines, a hum is enough to keep you moving. Mature spirituality after the night. Mature spirituality doesn't float above life. It stands inside it. After the night, the impulse to chase peak states fades. You stop trying to be special and start wanting to be useful. Reverence shows up as reliability. Prayer looks like keeping your word. Meditation becomes how you listen for what's honest, not how you escape what's hard. The self you built to be seen loosens. The self that can serve starts driving, echoing. Tolle's observation that conceptual meaning gives way to a lived, non-conceptual depth. Eckhart Tolle would say the conceptual frame died, and a deeper orientation took its place. You don't need to name it. You feel it in the way urgency drops out of your choices. You pause before you speak, not to be perfect, but to stay connected. Jung would call this individuation, ego strong enough to carry soul content without cracking. It isn't a costume. It's a body-level calm that lets you hold paradox. This hurts, and I can move. I'm scared, and I can ask. I don't know, and I can begin. 3 shifts mark the landscape. First, from performance to presence. You still care about outcomes, but you no longer gamble your worth on them. You measure a day by alignment with values, not applause. You make fewer promises and keep more. Trust gathers quietly around you, starting with your own nervous system. Second, from identity to practice. Instead of, I'm a wise person, you think, I practice truth under pressure. Instead of I'm compassionate, you ask, how did I protect capacity when it was easier to please? Titles become verbs. Third, from certainty to contact. You stop using beliefs to anesthetize fear. You let mystery be an honest boundary of knowledge while you keep acting where you can. The spiritual bypassing you once flirted with becomes obvious. You catch yourself reaching for transcendence to avoid a phone call, and choose the phone call. You notice a grand insight pulling you away from a small repair and choose the repair. Mature spirituality privileges integration over elevation. Elevation feels good. Integration changes Tuesdays. Your rituals get simpler and more local. A 3-breath pause before you open a door. Touching the counter and saying here before a hard task. Sitting with your coffee without a screen to train attention for later moments that matter. You keep the daily floor you built, breath, orientation, movement. Not as a wellness streak, but as devotion to the animal that carries your life. Power re-enters as stewardship. You're less impressed by charisma and more attuned to nervous systems. You can feel who's regulated, who's performing certainty, who's running heat without ground. You choose rooms where truth can be spoken without theatrics. When you lead, you set a pace people can metabolize. When you follow, you bring a spine. Boundaries stop being announcements. They're baked into how you schedule, reply, and step back when cost outweighs value. Humility shows up as teachability, not self-erasure. You solicit impact without surrendering your center. How did that land? Isn't a trapdoor, it's a bridge. You can be wrong without falling apart, and right without needing to win. You forgive faster because you repair faster. Resentment has less to feed on when needs are named in daylight. Gratitude becomes ordinary. Not lists to force a mood, but micro-recognition of enoughness. The way your lungs find the exhale, the neighbor who holds the elevator, the tree you leaned on in the worst week, or returns in scale you can carry. It's less fireworks, more a steady sense that being here is improbable and worth your attention. You retire purity narratives. Shadow integration widened your range, so you stop splitting yourself into saint or saboteur. You can hold the part that still wants to run and the part that stays seated in the meeting. You make agreements with both. We'll bolt after, for now we breathe. That inner diplomacy is quiet power. It lets you refuse the old pendulum between idealization and contempt. Service recalibrates. You help where your presence truly lowers suffering, not where helping props your image. Sometimes that means doing the visible thing. Often it means sending the email nobody wants to write, covering the unglamorous shift, or telling someone the hard truth with a soft face. You learn to leave when your staying is a performance. That too is service. Your relationship to time matures. You plan for a future without bargaining with the present. You invest in skills that make you useful 5 years from now, and in rest that keeps you human tonight. You accept lulls as part of the arc nights still come, but they're shorter and less dramatic. You recognize the signs early, the crack, the void, the reckoning, and deploy your flaw, your values, your people. You don't fear dissent, you respect it. Finally, faith gets practical. Faith isn't a belief you recite, it's a way you carry uncertainty. It's the 2 steps you take when only 2 are lit. It's trusting that orientation beats optimization, that contact beats performance, that repair beats spectacle. You stop chasing light. You tend your lamp, and without forcing it, you notice the path beneath your feet is brighter than it was. Exit markers and relapse prevention. Exits don't announce themselves with trumpets. They arrive as quiet consistencies. The first marker is capacity. You can feel a hard thing and still choose a small aligned action. The spike comes, you breathe out longer than in, and you send the email you were avoiding. Recovery time shortens. Not zero distress, faster return. Second, signal clarity. Envy stops being a shame spiral and becomes a compass. I want this. Anger shows up as boundary energy instead of a wrecking ball. Grief visits on schedule and leaves when the timer rings. You're not policing emotions, you're partnering with them. Third, steadiness of the daily floor. On bad days, you still hit breath, orientation, and movement. The floor becomes identity. I'm the person who keeps small promises. That trust changes risk tolerance. You try things without betting your self-worth. Fourth, relational recalibration. You tell the clean thing at the smallest true size. Less over-explaining, less ghosting. You ask for adjustments without theatrics. Some ties deepen because you're present. Others fade without war. That's not coldness. That's fit. Fifth, value congruence. You measure days by alignment, not applause. After a setback, You run the debrief, value practiced, cost paid, purchase made, and the answer guides your next inch. Meaning hums rather than spikes. Decisions simplify. 6th, state agility. You can upshift from fog with a brisk walk and downshift from spin with longer exhales and soft eyes. You catch dorsal slides earlier, cold hands, tunnel attention, and widen your view before the cave closes. Flexibility is visible in your calendar. Effort and recovery are paired. 7th, humor returns. Not avoidance, not cynicism, ease. You can laugh at your protector's old scripts without contempt. There's the inner manager, sharpening a spreadsheet for my feelings. Lightness is a sign the threat system trusts you. Now, relapse prevention. Nights aren't one and done, they're seasons. Build a red flag list, unique to you. 3 early tells you're sliding. Maybe you start cancelling movement, scrolling in bed, avoiding one person's name. Put the list on your phone. When 2 flags hit in a week, you deploy the floor plus. Daily floor plus 1 co-regulation touchpoint and 1 value rep. Catching early is cheaper than digging out. Protect your edges with state before strategy. No big decisions in high sympathetic or deep dorsal. If you can't name 5 objects in your periphery and feel your heels, you postpone the resignation letter, the breakup text, the life manifesto. You regulate, then act. It saves months. Keep sane, on loop, see, acknowledge, name, enact. Twice a day, on calendar alerts. It sounds basic because it is. Basic under pressure is mastery. When you skip, note it without scolding, and restart at the next alert. Consistency beats intensity. Build a relapse kit like your night kit, but for momentum. Inside, your 3, even when lines, a printed boundary trio template, a photo of a place you feel steady, electrolyte packets, and a card that says, state first. Contact over performance. When you're tired, props do the remembering. Schedule maintenance rituals. Monthly, a 2-hour systems check walk, no inputs, values review, 1 ask you've avoided, 1 boundary you need to reinforce. Quarterly, the return ritual at the same place, retiring a vibe, promoting a value. Yearly, a short retreat with no optimization, just the floor, reading, trees, and 1 letter to your future self about what you want to keep. Name your slippery places. Travel, holidays, success spikes, grief anniversaries. Pre-planned scaffolds. Extra sleep buffers, fewer social commitments, more protein, 1 friend on standby. Success spikes need as much planning as funerals. Elation can flood you into old performances. Set no solo spiral rules. If you've gone 48 hours without human voice contact, you ping someone with a pre-written line. Foggy. Don't fix. Breathe with me. Co-regulation beats shame. If nobody's available, your own recorded voice reading the truth pair works. When you blow a boundary or ghost your floor, practice the 24-hour repair. Within a day, name impact, own your move, make 1 small corrective action. The speed of repair is your relapse metric. Perfection is a trap. Quick returns build trust. Finally, honor the exit with a marker. Not a grand post. A small act that symbolizes the season change. Donate the books you hoarded for answers, plant something, retire a phrase you used to hide. Then keep the lamp tended. Nights may visit. You know your path back. State first, shadow welcomed, values enacted, floor kept, repair made. That's how you stay out without bracing against life.
2 composite case journeys. Case 1, Maya, 34, product manager, firstborn, high-performing, allergic to disappointing anyone. The crack arrived as a promotion she'd chased for 3 years. She stood at her new desk and felt nothing. 2 weeks later, sleep thinned, jaw locked, coffee stacked. The void came quiet. Shows she loved went flat. Weekends felt like waiting rooms. Her nervous system alternated spin and shut down. Up at 3 a.m., fog at 3 p.m. She didn't torch her life. She stabilized the edges. Daily floor, even when it felt pointless. Breath longer out, orientation, a 10-minute walk after lunch. Descent started with envy. A colleague launched a side project. Heat flashed in Maya's chest. Old script, I'm petty. Orientation reframed it. Envy as data. She wrote, I want creative ownership. Shadow stepped forward with a matching fear. If you want, you'll disappoint. She tried parts dialogue on a Tuesday night, timer set for 15 minutes. Envy spoke first. I'm here to keep us from settling. The manager protection part barged in. We survive by being agreeable. Maya thanked them, then sent 1 micro-ask to her lead. I have 2 ideas for a user research series I can own. Can we discuss? Small, measurable, skin in the game. The void deepened anyway. Time got strange. She reduced inputs, muted 3 advice accounts, put her phone in a drawer from 9 to noon on Saturdays. State before strategy. When spun, she did wall pushes, when flat, brisk blocks. Grief surfaced in surprising places. Sitting in her car, hand on the steering wheel, tears for a decade of being the reliable one. She gave it a container. 15 minutes, back supported, jaw soft, humming low. Ended with salt water and 3 rectangles named in her kitchen. Reckoning arrived in a meeting. A teammate interrupted. Maya laughed it off and left with a hot, buzzing chest. Instead of a slack rant, she did the boundary trio. Fact: when I was interrupted, my point got lost. Feeling: I felt angry. Forward: I want to finish a thought. Can we pause before chiming in? She practiced out loud first, palms to the wall, breath out longer than in. The conversation was awkward and fine. That night, shame visited. Too much. She ran the truth pair. I set a boundary that protects dignity. I'm still worthy of connection. Hand on sternum, 6 long exhales. Repatterning looked like tiny, boring reps. 1 honesty sentence a day. 1 ask a week. Anger hours at 6:10 p.m. 2 wall pushes, a towel pull, then draft 1 boundary email. She rehearsed even when lines on her commute. Even when I want approval, I honor capacity. She tracked wins not for trophies but for evidence. Felt heat, recovered in 2 minutes, asked to finish my thought. The daily floor became identity. After 3 months, joy returned differently. Warmth under her ribs when a junior teammate credited her coaching. She ritualized the return by donating optimization books she never opened and sticking a post-it on her monitor. Contact over performance. Case 2, Jamal, 41, nurse, single dad, raised in a church where anger was sin and ambition suspect. The crack was a double loss. His father died, and his ex moved states with a new partner. The void was brutal, dorsal dominance, hands cold, appetite gone. He still showed up for 12-hour shifts, then sat in his car staring at the steering wheel. He built a night kit in a shoebox. I masked gum, electrolyte packets, a photo of his son, and a printed card, state first. Contact over performance. On breaks, he did 5-4-3-2-1 with tactile emphasis. Heels, seat, palms, cool air, the coffee's warmth. Grief practice had to fit the edges. 15 minutes before sleep, timer on, jaw soft, humming low. 2 nights a week, he took grief outside, spine against a tree, matching its vertical. He named endings plainly. My old family story ended. He closed with a ritual, touched his father's watch and said, "Thank you for the part you could play." When 3 a.m. spirals came, he sat up, did 10 slow eye saccades, 10 long exhales, 10 right now I notice, lines, then back to bed. Reckoning arrived through shame. Jamal snapped at a colleague, then flooded with "I'm dangerous." Mirror test, value or performance rule. Value broken, care. He used the repair triangle the next morning. When I snapped, you were left carrying my stress. I avoided because I was overwhelmed. Next time I'll step out for 2 minutes and come back. He didn't grovel. He breathed and stayed. That night, shame tried to pull him into flagellation. He ran belonging permissions on his phone lock screen. I'm allowed to repair without groveling. Shadow integration revealed disowned anger and buried desire. Anger hour, 7:30 p.m., after dishes. Wall push with low MMM, towel pull for backing himself. Then 1 ask per week. First, I'd like 2 Fridays a month to make my son's games. Here's a coverage plan. He practiced the boundary trio with his supervisor while noticing his breath. Hands trembled, voice held. Approval didn't arrive with confetti, but the schedule shifted. Desire turned compass, not indictment. Values rebuilt meaning. He chose care, honesty, stewardship, courage. Verbs followed. Protect capacity before I perform. Tell 1 clean sentence. Keep systems that lower others' load. Make the ask I avoid. Even when lines went on a sticky note inside his badge. He did 1 value rep daily, logged on paper. Helped new hire without performing. Cost, 5 minutes. Purchase, dignity. After 90 days, he felt steadier. Humor returned in small glints, joking with his son about dad's weird breathing before basketball. Exit markers showed up as recovery speed and contact. He could feel a wave, breathe, and still call the insurance company, still fold laundry, still make the ask. He scheduled a quarterly walk, same park, same bench, retiring 1 vibe, martyrdom, and promoting a quiet value, play. He planted a small tree with his son and said, This is for all the endings that made room. Night still visit. He knows the path. State before strategy. Shadow welcomed. Grief contained. Anger channeled. Values enacted. Repair quick. The one-card roadmap. Action summary. If you could only carry one card through the night, it would read, State first. Signal next. Scope small. Contact over performance. Floor daily. Values enacted. Shadow welcomed. Repair fast. Here's what that means line by line. State first. Before choices, check your nervous system out loud. Up, down, or present. If you're spun, lengthen the exhale, soften your eyes, feel your heels. If you're flat, brisk walk, cold splash, music with a beat. Present enough? Proceed. Decisions made from regulated states cost less and stick. Signal next. Pick the loudest emotion, envy, grief, anger, shame, longing, and treat it as data. Envy points to desire, anger to a boundary, grief to an ending, shame to a need for accurate mirroring or repair, longing to direction. One signal, 1 inch of response. You're training partnership with emotion, not control. Scope small. Shrink plans until action is obvious. One conversation, one email, one boundary, one walk. Small doesn't mean timid, it means repeatable. Repeatable builds trust. Contact over performance. Choose moves that increase felt connection with yourself and others, even if they look unimpressive. A clean sentence beats a perfect persona. If an action makes you disappear, it's not the one. Floor daily. 10 minutes, even on bad days. Longer exhales, orientation movement. Floors survive weather. Weather changes. Floors are how you prove it. Values enacted. Pick up to 5 values and translate them into verbs with even when lines. Even when afraid, say one true sentence. Even when wanting approval, honor capacity. Track reps like sets. Alignment becomes your metric. Shadow welcomed. Name the protector parts and the exiles. Give anger a lane, shame a mirror, desire an ask. Use name, claim, contain. Transform heat into boundary, guilt into repair, longing into experiments. You're not purifying, you're including. Repair fast. When you miss, own impact, state ownership, make an offer. Then breathe and stop. Speed beats spectacle. Integrity grows in the turn, not the posture. Put these into a weekly cadence. Daily floor. Same loop twice. One honesty sentence. Food that steadies. Light movement, bed wind down. Twice weekly, grief container, 15 minutes with a close. One anger hour with push or pull and a small boundary action. Weekly, one ask aligned with desire. One, even when rep you'd normally dodge. One co-regulating touch point. Monthly, systems check walk, values review, one boundary to reinforce, one input to mute, one ritual to mark what ended or began. Quarterly, return ritual. Retire a vibe. Promote a quiet value. Write one practice sentence and pocket it. Rules for hard weather. No big life choices in high sympathetic or deep dorsal. If you can't see periphery or feel your heels, regulate first. No solo spirals past 48 hours. Send the breathe with me text or play your own recorded truth pair. When 2 red flags appear in a week, deploy Floor Plus. Floor Plus, 1 co-regulation and 1 value rep. Keep 1 question on the back of the card. What would make this 1 inch truer? Ask it at desks, doorways, sinks, and bedsides. Answer with your body first, then words, then a small act you can stand behind tomorrow. You don't need more concepts. You need a path you can walk half asleep. This is that path: state, signal, scope, contact, floor, values, shadow, repair. It fits in a pocket and survives any night. Suffering wasn't the detour. It was the doorway that taught you how to orient, feel, and act without abandoning yourself. If you want the next step, rewatch the turning decision and ground skills, then start your floor tonight. Subscribe for more true stories and practical roadmaps, and watch the companion piece on shadow integration to keep your lamp steady.